Hello and hi, today we are going to be talking about the new debut album from the band Aooo. So Aooo is kind of a super group, but not quite a super group, if you will. There are 4 members, and prior to this, they were all part of some kind of either duo or group, or it's kind of all over the place. That said, let's start with the first member, who is named Riko Ishino. She is actually the ex-lead singer of another band called Akai Koen. And they broke up in, I think, technically 2021, but there were some difficulties that I won't go into in this video because it's kind of complicated in 2020, which led to them calling it quits in 2021. So I really like that band, and I really liked her as the lead singer too. I believe she was their second lead singer, maybe third. I would recommend their 2020 album as well as their 2019 EP called Kei. That one's really cool, and it has a song on there called Highway Cabaret, which is just fantastic. So for our next member, we have the lead guitarist, who goes by the name Sri, which is supposed to be like the number 3 in English. So apparently he is a Vocaloid producer. That of course means that the music here will sort of have that chaotic pop sound found in some Vocaloid music. The bassist is named Hikaru Yamamoto, and so her deal is that she is actually the live bassist for some YOASOBI shows. So that's a pretty big name, I feel like. Finally, the drummer is named Sumiki, and he is also a Vocaloid producer and is also the second half of a musical duo called No Melon No Lemon. So good for him. So you're here for music. Let's talk about the music. First, I want to talk about the amazing sense of energy that this album has. I love the intro song called Flash Forward, and honestly, I think it's kind of an S-tier rock album start. And for that reason, it actually reminds me a lot of the very first song from Trico's third album called 3. And that song is called Tokyo Vampire Hotel. And it just kicks off that album in just a very flamboyant and just very lively sort of like style. And that's exactly what happens here on this song, Flash Forward. And then another song that I felt had really good energy was the one called Apathy. Now, I love the main guitar melody here. This rocks, it goes so hard, it's so catchy, it sticks in my head. And on top of that, it is also accompanied with just fantastic percussion too. I think everything here is just so well done instrumentally, and that is kind of what it seems like their specialty is more so instrumentals than really lyrics. I would say Riko's vocals are really good, especially because she has been a lead singer in the past, so that's no surprise there. But the instrumentals are just fun and jazzy and rocky. It's really, really cool. And so another song that I really like too is called Suichu Shoujo, and that means underwater girl. I love the bridge on this song. That's probably my favorite aspect of it. And it really sounds like an anime opening to me. And that's actually what a lot of this album sounds like too, in my opinion. Especially that previous song I just mentioned, Apathy. That is really giving some kind of shonen, opening kind of sound there. And so similarly, there is another song on this album called Casablanca. And while yes, this does also sound like an anime opening, in particular, I think it's maybe got like a song structure or a chord progression that really reminds me of the song Connect by the pop duo Claris. So even if you don't know this song by its name, you might also actually know it as the opening for the anime Madoka Magica. So if you know that song, this one really reminds me of it, and I love that song, so thereby I really like this one too. Just something about that kind of song DNA that's kind of making me reminisce over how much I liked Connect, because I just love that song. And I really like classic Claris, and that's a whole other video, so let's go back to Aooo. So as I mentioned a second ago, this album is like crazy jazzy too. There is one song called Yellow Toy. It was at this point in the track list because it comes up pretty early on that I really recognize the kind of jazzy slant that the band was going for with this album. And it maybe reminds me sort of a song by Shiina Ringo's band Tokyo Incidents. Maybe it's kind of in that same vein, I feel like. More so their like newer stuff. I think there might be some kind of connection there too, maybe, especially considering they are kind of like jazzy rock pop bands that are in the mainstream, so they've kind of got that like major label, sort of backing and kind of trying to like steer their sound. And I'm not saying they're plants, but lots of those agencies like to kind of meddle. And just to finish off Yellow Toy, I feel like this is really indicative of that kind of Vocaloid style too. Let me know in the comments if you think so or not, and like, favorite, subscribe, and hey, ring the bell, hey. So continuing to talk about those jazzy songs, there is another called Aoi Komuri, and that means blue smoke. And I love the bass work here. It is so cool, it's so jazzy, it's so bouncy, lovely energy, love everything about this. I feel like this is probably the most jazzy the album gets on a sort of singular song basis. I love this. I would like to see more of this, but if they want to continue kind of that rocky, poppy direction, that's fine with me too. I'm liking everything here so far. The following song is called More, and it features an absolutely lovely guitar passage towards kind of the middle of the song that acts as a bridge. And it's really fluttery and colorful, but it still sounds like really like smooth and buttery, and it just came out so well in the mix. I'm really happy this song exists because it is a banger. So in summary, I feel like this is definitely more of a bass-led project than one might expect going into it. And honestly, I love that as a jazz fan, as a math rock fan, as a rock fan, as a pop fan. I love bass. Let's get more of that in every genre. Please and thank you. I will say it skews a little bit in that math rock direction, and for that reason, I think that's why there are so many elements of jazz, because math rock follows a lot of kind of like jazz formulaic chord progressions and just kind of pluckiness in every way. It's there. I can't really articulate what I'm trying to say, but I think if you're familiar with math rock, you would know that it is kind of an inherently jazzy genre in and of itself, because it kind of takes from progressive rock, which progressive rock also kind of takes from jazz. It's like, I think you're picking up what I'm putting down here for the most part. Now, one thing I would really like to spend some time touching on is this is a pop jazz rock album. And you know who else makes pop rock jazz? Polkadot Stingray. And what I want to talk about is this is so similar to Polkadot Stingray's sound instrumentally, songwriting-wise, vocally, that this almost feels like a tribute album to Polkadot Stingray. It's really odd. Vocally, it sounds like Rico is almost doing a like near perfect impression of the lead singer of Polkadot Stingray named Shizuku. She sounds and sings almost exactly like her. Lyrically, they're really similar too, so I almost think maybe Polkadot Stingray had some hand in helping write or compose some of these songs, because it is weirdly similar. Honest to God, I think if you pitched up Rico just a little bit, I would think this is a new Polkadot Stingray album. It's insane how close it sounds. And so it makes me wonder what the members of Polkadot Stingray think, if they actually had no hand in making this, because it is just so weirdly similar. I don't know. Am I upset that it almost sounds like they're taking too much inspiration from Polkadot Stingray? No, because Polkadot Stingray hasn't come out with an album in like 3 or 4 years, so I kind of miss this style of music, so I'm happy to see it here. And I think they pull it off really well too. And so with that said, if you are a fan of Polkadot Stingray, you're gonna like this album. I'm pretty sure it's going to scratch that exact itch you have for this kind of music. And so similarly, I think if you're a fan of J-rock that kind of skews more towards that anime opening sort of sound, you're gonna like how this whole album sounds too. And so by the by, the record label that this album was released under is actually owned by Sony Music, and considering their stranglehold on anime in Japan, I think it's reasonable to assume there's some background collusion with the anime industry here. My main takeaways from this album are that everyone here is a great musician. I think the album sounds great. I think the mixing isn't amazing, but it definitely is not bad in any regard in the slightest. I do feel like the songs are kind of samey, but because the quality of them is so high, I'm kind of willing to overlook that. So for that reason, I think this album is an 8 out of 10. I think it is a great foundational start for the band, and also I do hope that they explore more avenues for their sound to kind of move into. With Polkadot Stingray gone, I think Aooo is a fantastic replacement and perfectly fills the void that they have left so far. Though they have released another single recently, so maybe they're coming back, but there's no album announcement, so I don't know what's up with that. So I think for this album to have scored a 9 or 10, I think primarily there just needed to be more standout tracks, and also the mixing would need to be a little bit more standout too. I think that because the guitars aren't really mixed in any specific way, they kind of overpower everything else in the mix, and they just kind of end up sounding like static. I can still hear them, but I hear them over everything, so I can't hear the other stuff, which is kind of disappointing because, like I said, everyone here is a fantastic musician and I want to hear them be fantastic at their musics. Duh. So in that way, the mixing was kind of a letdown for me. I still like it. I still think it sounds pretty clear and crisp for the most part, but not always. not always. So that is my review. Thank you for watching. I'd love to see more from this band soon. I'd love to see more from Polkadot Stingray soon even. They are a fantastic replacement for right now, and I love music, so I love listening to this. So if you're a fan of Polkadot Stingray, let me know in the comments, and also let me know what you think about how this band sounds too, because I think you might think they're also very similar. So thank you for watching, and have a fantastic rest of your day, and watch another video or two. They should be right here, and if you don't, I will know. YouTube does tell me that. I will find out. But regardless,